Look around you. Look at the advice given to every single person over the age of 70. Just go for a walk. Stay active. Get your steps in. It's the universal prescription for senior health, handed out like candy by well-meaning doctors, family members, and fitness gurus. And I am here to tell you, with the full weight of my medical expertise, that this common advice is not just incomplete. It is dangerously incomplete. In fact, if you are over 70 and you are following this just walk advice, you are actively, though unknowingly, marching down a path that leads to loss of strength, loss of independence, and ultimately the loss of the vibrant life you deserve. But what if I told you that by the end of this conversation, you will possess a simple surgeon's eye view of your own body that will completely change your relationship with movement? What if you could unlock the door to not just adding years to your life, but life to your years? This isn't just about senior health tips. This is about a fundamental rewrite of the aging script. I want you to meet Arthur. Arthur is 78 years old, a retired school principal, sharp as a tack, with a laugh that could fill a room. He came to my clinic not for a surgery, but out of sheer frustration. He told me, "Doc, I don't understand it. I do everything they tell me. I walk every single morning for 45 minutes. I watch what I eat. But last week I was getting out of my grandson's little sports car, and my legs just gave out. I didn't fall, but I had to grab the door and haul myself up. I felt so old, so fragile. I'm doing the work, so why am I getting weaker?" And Arthur's story is not unique. It's the story of millions. You see, we have been sold a lie. The lie is that movement is enough. But not all movement is created equal. Walking is a fantastic activity, but for a body over 70, it is merely the background music to your fitness, not the main event. It does nothing to address the silent thief of independence that is already at work inside you. And understanding that thief is the first step to stopping it cold. That thief has a name: sarcopenia. It's a $5 word for a devastatingly simple process, the age-related loss of muscle mass and strength. And here is the terrifying truth that most people never hear. Starting around the age of 30, we begin to lose muscle slowly, insidiously, about 3 to 5% per decade. It's slow, so you don't notice it. You might feel a little more tired, blame it on a bad night's sleep, but then you hit 60, 70, and that slow leak becomes a cascade. And this is where the truth gets shocking, because if all you are doing is walking, you are not building muscle. You are merely maintaining your cardiovascular system while your muscular foundation, the very architecture of your independence, is crumbling beneath you. Walking won't rebuild the muscle you're losing. It's like trying to fix a crumbling brick wall by painting it. It might look okay from a distance, but the structural integrity is gone. And the moment you need that strength to catch yourself from a trip, to get up from a low chair, to carry a bag of groceries, the wall gives way. This isn't just about strength. This is about the very essence of your freedom. Your ability to live independently, to travel, to play with your grandkids is directly tied to your muscular strength. This is the most profound of all longevity secrets. It's not a weird berry from the Amazon or a billion-dollar drug. It's the simple, undeniable power of muscle. I also remember a woman named Eleanor. She was 82, fiercely independent, living in the home she'd shared with her late husband for 50 years. Her daughter brought her in, worried. Eleanor had fallen in her garden. Nothing was broken, thank goodness, but the fear was now a constant companion. She was shrinking her world. No more gardening, no more trips to the museum, because she was afraid of falling. She told me, "I feel like I'm just waiting for the big one, the fall that takes it all away." Her daughter said, "But Mom, you walk every day." And Eleanor just looked at her and said, "It's not enough." Eleanor was right. It wasn't enough. Because walking does not build the kind of reactive, stabilizing strength that prevents a fall when you step off an unexpected curb or trip on a rug. That requires something else entirely. But here's the beautiful part of this story, the part that fills me with so much hope. Both Arthur and Eleanor, and thousands like them, discovered that reversing this decline, reversing aging in a very real physical sense, is not only possible, it's achievable. And it doesn't require you to become a bodybuilder or spend hours in a gym. It requires a shift in understanding, a new set of rules, and that is what I want to give you today. I'm going to give you the surgeon's 4 pillars of lifelong mobility. These are the 4 fundamental, non-negotiable components of movement that, if you ignore them, will lead you down the path of Arthur and Eleanor. But if you embrace them, they will become your shield, your armor, and your engine for a life of powerful, independent living. The first pillar, and this is the one that shocks people the most, is explosive power. Now wait, I know what you're thinking. Explosive? Doctor, I'm 75, not an Olympic long jumper. But stay with me, because this one change is a game changer. Explosive power is not about being explosive in the way a sprinter is. It's about the ability of your muscles to generate force quickly. Think about what happens when you start to slip on an icy patch. Your brain sends a lightning-fast signal to your leg and core muscles to contract and stiffen to regain balance. That is explosive power. It's the difference between a near fall and a fall that breaks a hip. When you just walk, you are moving at a steady, plodding pace. Your muscles never learn to fire quickly. They become slow and lazy. We need to retrain them to be fast and responsive. This is the single most important type of strength for fall prevention, and it's the one that walking completely neglects. The good news is, training it is incredibly simple. It can be as easy as, when you're holding onto a sturdy countertop, simply practicing going up onto your toes as quickly as you can, and then lowering yourself slowly. Up fast, down slow. That quick, upward motion is teaching your calf muscles to fire with speed. That is a power exercise, and this simple move is one of the most potent mobility exercises for safety you can ever do. The second pillar is what I call the sitting and rising test. This is the ultimate test of functional strength, and it's a powerful predictor of your long-term health. I want you to picture this. You're sitting in a firm, armless chair. Now, without using your hands, your arms, or leaning forward to build momentum, I want you to try to stand up. Just use the pure strength of your legs and core. Could you do it? For many of you, the answer might be no, or it would be a real struggle. This simple act, sitting and rising from a chair, is one of the most physically demanding things we do every single day. And if you cannot do it without assistance, you are already in the danger zone. This is where the truth gets personal. Walking does very little to build the specific strength in your quads, glutes, and core that is required for this movement. You need to train for it directly. The solution is not to avoid chairs, but to use them as your gym. Practice the motion. Use a higher chair at first if you need to, and use your hands for assistance, but focus on feeling your leg muscles do the work. The goal is to wean off the hand support over time. Mastering this single movement is a direct investment in your own independence. It means you can get up from any toilet, any car seat, any dining chair, anywhere in the world, with confidence. This isn't just a senior health tip. This is a declaration of freedom. Now wait until you hear the third pillar, because this is the one that most people get dead wrong. The third pillar is balance, but not the kind you think. When most people think about balance, they think of standing on one leg, and that's a fine exercise, but it's a static balance. It's balance in a controlled, predictable environment. But life is not predictable. Life is dynamic. You're walking through a crowded store, someone bumps into you, you have to sidestep a dog, you turn your head to look at a shelf. That is dynamic balance. And this is the secret. Most falls don't happen when you're just standing still. They happen when you are moving, turning, and changing direction. So, how do we train for that? We have to challenge our balance in dynamic ways. This can be as simple as, while you're holding onto your countertop for safety, practicing walking sideways, crossing one foot over the other, or walking backwards very carefully, or, and this is a powerful one, simply turning your head from side to side while you walk in place. This disrupts the simple robotic pattern of normal walking and forces your stabilizing muscles to wake up and work. By incorporating these simple dynamic balance drills into your routine, you are no longer just practicing balance. You're rehearsing for real life. You are building a nervous system that is adaptable, resilient, and ready for the unexpected. This is the very heart of reversing the aging process of your brain-body connection. We have one more pillar to cover, a fourth pillar that is the absolute cornerstone of everything. It's the master key that unlocks your body's true potential for healing and strength. But before we get to that, I want you to think about Arthur and Eleanor. Think about their frustrations, their fears. And then I want you to think about the first three pillars we've just discussed. Explosive power, the sitting and rising strength, dynamic balance. These are not complicated concepts. They are simple, actionable, and they address the core weaknesses that walking alone leaves completely untouched. I have seen these principles transform lives. I want you to think about which of these three pillars resonates most with you right now. Is it the fear of a fall that you need to address with explosive power? Is it the struggle to get out of a chair that tells you need to focus on that sitting and rising strength? Or is it a feeling of unsteadiness in a crowd that points you toward dynamic balance? I want you to tell me in the comments below. Just write power, strength, or balance. I read every single one of your comments, and understanding your biggest challenge helps me create the most important content for you. Because in just a moment, we're going to dive into the fourth and final pillar, and this one is the game changer. It's the physiological secret that determines whether your body is in a state of breakdown or a state of building and repair. It's the difference between feeling your age and defying it. Now that might sound like a complicated term, but I promise you, it's the simplest and most profound concept you will ever learn for your health. Anabolic simply means to build. And as we age, our bodies become less anabolic and more catabolic, which means to break down. This is the slow, silent drain of sarcopenia we talked about. For decades, this drain is so slow you don't notice it. But then you hit a certain age, and it feels like the floodgates have opened. You feel weaker, slower, more fragile. You've crossed a threshold. But here is the life-changing secret. This is not a one-way street. You can reopen the anabolic window. You can tell your body, loudly and clearly, to stop breaking down and start building up again. And the key to unlocking that window isn't a magic pill. It's a specific, powerful, and profoundly simple signal you send to your muscles. That signal is progressive resistance. This is the cornerstone. This is the truth that separates a life of managed decline from a life of vibrant strength. Progressive resistance simply means consistently asking your muscles to do just a little bit more than they are comfortable doing. It's the principle of a little more. One more repetition, holding a position for one more second, using a slightly heavier weight. This little more is the biological trigger. It's the signal that tells your muscle cells, wake up, we are still needed, it's time to grow. And this is the part that breaks my heart, because this is what walking completely fails to do. When you walk the same route at the same pace day after day, year after year, your body becomes incredibly efficient at it. It's not a challenge anymore. It's not a little more. It's the same. And the same does not trigger growth. The same only maintains the slow decline. You are essentially telling your body, don't bother building new muscle. What we have is just enough for this. We have to stop telling our bodies that they are done growing. Now I can already hear the objections. But doctor, I can't go to a gym. I don't have weights. I have bad knees, a bad back. This is where the truth gets liberating. You don't need a single piece of specialized equipment to apply progressive resistance. Your body is your gym. Gravity is your weight. Let me make this incredibly practical. Let's go back to our first pillar, explosive power. Remember the exercise? Rising onto your toes quickly, holding onto a counter. That's week 1. But to make it progressive, in week 2, you don't just do the same thing. You try to put a little less weight through your hands on the counter. You let your legs do a little more of the work. That's your little more. Or you try to do 1 more repetition than you did last time. That's your little more. For the sitting and rising test, the progression is moving from a higher chair to a lower chair, or using your hands less and less until you don't use them at all. That's your little more. For dynamic balance, it's moving from holding on with 2 hands to 1 hand to just a fingertip, to finally doing your head turns or side steps without holding on at all. Every single one of these small incremental victories is you shouting, "Grow!" into your cellular machinery. This philosophy of a little more is the most powerful tool you have for reversing aging. It's not about brutal, painful workouts. It's about consistent, intelligent challenges. It's about moving from "I can't" to "I'll try" to "I did it." And each one of those moments is a brick laid in the foundation of your renewed independence. But there is a 5th and final pillar, and this one is the fuel that makes all the others possible. It's the environment in which your body chooses to repair and rebuild. This 5th pillar is the recovery cascade. When you apply that progressive resistance, when you do your little more, you are creating microscopic tears in your muscle fibers. Now that sounds scary, but it's actually the beautiful, intentional beginning of the rebuilding process. It's like a controlled, targeted demolition to build a stronger skyscraper. This process triggers what I call the recovery cascade, a miraculous, body-wide symphony of repair. Blood flow increases to the area, bringing oxygen and nutrients. Hormones that facilitate repair are released. Inflammation, the good kind, the kind that signals for cleanup and reconstruction, kicks into gear. And your muscle cells, having received the wake-up call, start weaving new protein strands, making the muscle fiber thicker, stronger, and more resilient than it was before. But, and this is a critical but, this cascade only happens fully and effectively under one specific condition: proper recovery. You do not get stronger during the exercise. You get stronger during the rest and recovery after the exercise. This is where so many people of all ages go wrong. They think more is always better. But for us especially, rest is not laziness. Rest is an active, essential part of the training process. It's when the magic happens. This means a few things. First, you don't need to do these focused strength and power sessions every single day. In fact, you shouldn't. Every other day is perfect. It gives your body that 48-hour window to complete its beautiful work of reconstruction. Second, recovery is fueled by 2 things we have absolute control over: hydration and protein. Water is the medium in which every single one of these chemical reactions takes place. Without it, the construction site is parched and silent. And protein is the literal bricks and mortar. After a session where you've applied your little more, your body is crying out for amino acids, the building blocks of protein, to patch those microscopic tears and build them back stronger. Having a small, protein-rich snack or meal within an hour or 2 of your session is like delivering a truckload of bricks to a construction crew that's ready to work. It's the final, critical piece of the puzzle. Now, I want you to picture all 5 of these pillars working together, because that's where the true magic happens. It's a symphony. You start your day. You do your 2-minute power drill, your explosive calf raises, sending the "be quick and powerful" signal. Later, you practice sitting and standing from your kitchen chair 5 times, focusing on using your hands less than you did yesterday. That evening, while watching television, you stand up during the commercials and practice your dynamic balance, turning your head side to side, maybe letting go of the chair for a few seconds at a time. In every single one of these activities, you are applying the principle of a little more, progressive resistance. And then you drink a glass of water, you have a small bowl of Greek yogurt, and you get a good night's sleep, allowing the beautiful recovery cascade to do its silent, powerful work of making you literally biologically younger while you rest. This isn't exercise. This is a new way of living. It's a conversation with your body. It's telling it every single day, you are still needed. You are still powerful. You are still capable of growth. And I want to end with a story about a man named Walter. Walter was 85 when I first met him. His daughter had all but dragged him to my clinic. He was a proud man, a former engineer, but he had become reclusive. He'd had a few close calls with falls, and the fear had caged him. He sat in my office, shoulders slumped, and he said to me, "Doctor, what's the point? The path only goes one way. It's all downhill from here." He saw his body as a machine that was wearing out, and his only job was to slow the rust. I shared these 5 pillars with him, not as a rigid prescription, but as a new way to see himself. I told him, "Walter, your body isn't a machine wearing out. It's a living garden, and right now it's a little overgrown, a little neglected. But the soil is still fertile. We just need to do a little weeding, a little planting, and give it the right conditions to bloom again." He was skeptical, but he was also an engineer, and he appreciated the logic. He started with what he called his mission control, his kitchen counter. He started with the calf raises. The first time, he had to lean heavily on his hands, but he kept a little notebook. Day 3 used 10% less hand pressure. He applied his engineer's mind to the little more. He worked on his chair rise. He started in a high bar stool and celebrated the day he could lower the seat height by 1 notch. He practiced his balance while waiting for his morning coffee to brew. He became fascinated by the process. He was no longer just fighting decline, he was engineering a comeback. About 4 months later, Walter came for a follow-up. He walked into my office and I barely recognized him. It wasn't that he looked dramatically younger. It was the way he carried himself. His shoulders were back, his head was up. There was a light in his eyes I hadn't seen before. He didn't sit down right away. He stood in front of my desk, and with a twinkle in his eye, he said, "Watch this, Doc." And he proceeded to slowly, deliberately, and with absolute control, lower himself into the chair without using his hands. Then he stood back up just as smoothly. He did it, the sitting and rising test. He looked at me and he said, "Last weekend, I took my 7-year-old granddaughter to the zoo. We walked for 3 hours, and when she got tired, I carried her backpack. I carried it, Doc. I haven't done that in 10 years. He didn't just get stronger, he got his life back. He reopened his anabolic window, not just in his muscles, but in his spirit. That is the true definition of reversing aging. That is the ultimate longevity secret. This is what is possible for you. This is not theory. This is physiology. This is the undeniable truth that your body is waiting for your permission to be strong again. So, I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to think about your Walter moment. What is the one thing you want back? Is it the ability to get down on the floor to play with your grandkids and get back up again with ease? Is it the confidence to walk through a crowded park without a flutter of fear? Is it the simple, profound joy of carrying your own groceries into the house under your own power? I want you to type that one thing into the comments below. Just write, "I want to." I want to play on the floor. I want to walk without fear. I want to carry my own groceries. Let's fill this page with our declarations of independence. Let's make this a record of our collective decision to grow stronger, not older. This journey starts with a single, simple step. But it's not a walking step. It's a decision. It's the decision to do your first calf raise, to practice your first chair rise, to turn your head while you walk in place. That decision is a spark, and from that spark, you can build a fire that will light up the rest of your life. If this conversation has shown you that there is another path, a better path, then do me one more favor. Share this video with one person you care about. A friend, a sibling, a spouse, because this message is too important to keep to ourselves. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because my mission is to fill this channel with exactly this kind of life-changing, empowering information. We are not meant to fade away. We are meant to burn bright, right to the very end. Your next chapter of strength, of power, of independent living begins not tomorrow, but the moment you decide that you are still capable of growth. Make that decision today. I'll see you in the comments.